Hello and welcome to Inspired Life with Melanie. If you're new here, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. So I'm really happy you guys are here today. I really think that my topic for today's video is something that probably anyone can relate to, no matter what phase or stage you are in your life. And basically what that is what I wish I knew in my 20s. So, for transparency's sake, I'm 51. So, my 20s were forever ago. They were so long ago. But I've just had several things happen in the last several months where I've kind of thought to myself, man, if only I knew that back in my 20s, I might have changed a behavior or stopped a habit or started a habit. And I just thought, it'd be good to sit down and kind of talk through it. My daughter is 12, she's almost 13, and I notice myself giving her advice at times. Like one thing, oh my goodness, she'll pop her knuckles, and I did that horribly when I was a kid. And I'm telling you right now, I'm just like embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I hate my hands because of that, because I pop my knuckles so much. And so now my hands are just, they're ugly because of all of that. And so it's simple things like that where if I could just tell her and impress upon her, and then I show her my hands and say, don't do this, you will regret it someday. So that said, it's all of those things and kind of the things that have happened over the last couple of months where I just thought, it might be nice to sit down and put a video together. I am older now, much older, hopefully a little bit wiser than I was in my 20s, but it'd be good to talk through it. We can have a little heart to heart. And so grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's sit down and talk about all the things I wish I knew that might have saved me some stress and anxiety and money and just wasted time. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the obvious. You do not have to have it figured out in your 20s. You do not have to have this grand plan. There is so much pressure on you in your early 20s to have this 5-year plan, have this amazing career path, or this relationship that's going to lead to marriage and family and all of that. You do not need to have that in your 20s. Take your time, explore. Do not let, even if it's parents, don't let parents or family members or society or friends or anyone put pressure on you to try to hone you into this cone of perfection that everyone thinks that you need to have. I do love that about society today. I feel like versus when I was a kid, there probably was a whole lot more pressure. I think that the generations now definitely do a little bit better at this, taking their time. They get married later in life, start families later in life. And I think that's okay. I think that's great. I can tell you right now, I definitely did not know what was important to me in a relationship in my 20s. I didn't. Like it's maybe I thought it was ABC and really it's XYZ, and it's life and experiences that will teach you those lessons and allow you that as you move on down the road to know, okay, this is the right person, this is the right career, this is the path that I should be on. So don't pressure yourself. Just know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for your life to look a little bit messy in your 20s. You have your entire life ahead of you, and you will, doing that will allow you to settle into that path of what truly makes you happy. The worst thing that you can do is to try to meet everybody else's expectations of what they think that you should do, and then you turn around and 20 years later you're in a career that you detest, or in a relationship for that matter. So I can safely say I have learned a lot in all of these years. As far as what I like to do from a career perspective, I'm sort of doing it, but I would have done it a little bit differently. I definitely would have done it a little bit differently. And that is one thing I say all the time. If I could go back, that is one thing that I would definitely change. I would have the courage to do what I'm doing, but more in an entrepreneurial method. So that's an important lesson. I think probably the biggest in your 20s is do not try to meet everybody else's expectations. Take your time, figure it out on your own, figure out what makes you happy, and then head down that path. Okay, so this next one is probably pretty straightforward, but I do think it gets lost a lot of times. And it's that friendships will change and that's okay. So friendships are not always forever, but it doesn't mean that they weren't meaningful. This one definitely hit me hard. I had some people that I thought were, well, at one girl, I thought she was a friend for life. And then as we got a little bit older, values changed, and I realized that no, it was not a forever friendship. So, um, the times that we had together were amazing, and I enjoyed them, and I can look back on a lot of that and have a lot of fond memories. But in the end, not being friends with her anymore is the best thing for my life. So, and it doesn't even have to be that there's something crazy that happens, which that's what happened in this situation. It's more about really, people move, they change jobs, they people just take different paths in their lives. Don't hang on to something, number one, if it's draining. And that is one thing about this girl. So not only did one super crazy thing happen, once I was able to finally step away from that friendship, I realized she was a massive drain on me. I mean, she was like one of those like super drama people. And it's like everything just with her was just so dramatic and drama. And when we stopped being friends, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. Makes me kind of sad because again, she was my best friend at the time. Probably I needed this thing to happen that broke up our friendship because when it was all said and done, it was so much better. My life was easier. I felt better. She honestly, without even me realizing it, was a little bit of a burden on me. So I think for this one, just take a look at your friends and think about, what you're each getting out of it. If it's a one-way thing, it might be time to let go. If it's an emotional drain, or if you find that this friendship is holding you back or anything like that, sometimes you do just have to let go. And then there's the types of friends, that it's just because, like I said, you moved to different cities or something like that. That's okay. The best friend type of friend is the one that you don't have to feel obligated or stressed if you're not in constant contact. Some of my absolute best friends right now, we don't talk for several months, but that's because they're busy in their lives and I'm busy in my life. But then when we do get together, we pick up right where we left off. And that is a good, meaningful friendship, one that is mutual and that there are no measurements being taken about who calls the most or who called last or anything like that. So just keep that in mind with your friends. Know that some will come and go, but stay open. Some of my absolute very best friends are people that I have met in the last 5 years of my life. So I just think that you just need to really think about your friends and don't be stressed and just know that, sometimes things end and that's okay. This next one is one of the ones I was talking about earlier when I said, I've thought of things over the last several months and years that I wish I had known or started in my 20s. And that is take care of your body. So that means wear your SPF, work out, get your body moving, eat more vegetables than you think you should, and just generally take care of yourself. Drink your water, get plenty of sleep. So this one hits me a little bit hard in several of those areas. The first one that I will just get out of the way now is wearing your SPF. I grew up in a generation where we did not. My generation, you put baby oil on and you laid out and you got your tan. And I have to say, absolutely, my skin reflects it and it makes me sad. This is probably the biggest, if I could go back and do it over again, I would. So wear your sunscreen. I do think that current generations are way better about this than they were when I was a kid, but protect your skin. I promise you, your future self will give you a big hug for that one. The other thing is the taking care of your body and getting it moving and working out. So I started on basically a fitness journey several years ago, and I will be in the gym working out. I'm like super happy with what I've accomplished and creating new habits and, eating. I've always eaten pretty healthy, but I've definitely honed that in a little bit more. And it's even at 50, I have gained some great results. But I'll be in the gym and I'll be working out, and I will see, kids in their 20s and 30s, and they're already doing this. And I think to myself, man, what could I have done, if I had started in my 20s? So absolutely create those habits now. Create the habits of, eating right and balanced. Doesn't mean you can't, have the bad stuff. Just have your foundation be healthy, balanced meals. Get moving, stay moving, work out. Try a workout journey and see if you like it. And if you start that in your 20s and you carry that throughout life, it is going to serve you so well as far as your body and being able to do things later in life. There's a lot of things that I can do, in my 50s that other 50-year-olds can't. And I want to be able to take care of myself. I want my joints and I want my back to be strong and things like that so that I can lift the things I need to lift and all that. So take care of your body. I promise you, your future self will be so grateful. So this one is going to be basically stating the obvious, but money habits. Absolutely, in your 20s, create healthy money habits. I wish I had thought more about savings and things like that, even if it was only, $10 a month or whatever. But definitely when you're young, if you create those habits, avoid the bad habits like, credit card debt, retail therapy. That one gets me sometimes. Or, buying things to try to keep up with people. So your future self will be so grateful and thankful if you start in your 20s with those healthy habits. I remember one of my first jobs out of college, there was a guy that sat next to me, and he was probably his mid 20s. He already had, an investment advisor and a financial advisor. And I just thought, I didn't have that back then, but I can look back on that now and think, man, that was so smart. So create those healthy habits in your 20s, start investing, and I promise you, you will be so happy later on down the road. You can, help set yourself up for retiring earlier and being able to do all the things that you want and need to do. So keep those money habits healthy. This one is one of my favorites, and that is confidence is quiet. This, I think, is a huge misnomer for sure. So I know that in my 20s, I thought confidence was being alpha or loud or, getting the last word in. It's definitely not. Confidence is quiet. So you don't always have to have the last word. You don't have to be the loudest in the room. Confidence is built by trusting yourself and keeping the promises to yourself and it's built slowly over time. Start in your 20s, believe in yourself, and build that confidence quietly. You do not have to prove yourself to anyone by labels or job titles or number of followers that you have. You just have to believe in yourself, and you have to keep your promises to yourself, and you need to consistently show up even when you're scared. This is one of my favorites. I think this is something that I hope I can teach my daughter, because I think it's important. And I think a lot of people really get this one wrong a lot of the time. So just remember, confidence is quiet. I know I said the last one was the most important or my favorite, but honestly, this one definitely is. And that is, failure is data. It is not defeat. You have to embrace those failures. I have failed many things in life, classes, relationships, all sorts of things. And you just need to be able to take each of those failures and ask yourself, what do I need to be learning from this? And then you can take those little tidbits of information, what you've learned, and you can use that in your next endeavor. And so you need to embrace those failures. And just, if I could go back and tell my 20-year-old self something, it would just be that failure is not the end. It is feedback. It's feedback to help me grow and help me learn. And I just think that, every no shaped my future and I learned from it. Every failure helped me grow in some way that paid off in something else in life. And so I know that failing, hearing no, all of those things can seem very traumatic at any given time. But if you just really change your mindset, and if I had just learned to do this in my 20s, oh gosh, I feel like it would have been so powerful to have that insight, to know that it's not it's not a failure. It's just a data point to use to grow and work towards something bigger and better, and use that to help you in the future. So that, to me, is one of the most important things that, if I could go back and tell my 20-year-old self, it would be a game changer. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope that you have learned something from one of these. All of these things that I've talked about have come from very real, beautiful, messy moments in my life. And, just the insight that if I could take that back to my 20s, I hope that something has resonated with you. If it has, let me know. What is something that you have learned or wish you knew in your 20s, or maybe you're learning it now? Let me know. I would absolutely love to hear it. I'm sure anyone else reading and the comments and watching the video would love to know as well. And if you like this, give me a like and subscribe. And in the meantime, until the next video, be kind to yourself. You are doing much better than you think you are.